All right, hey, good morning, everyone. So this is Melissa, and if you join my YouTube channel, I am helping a lot of women with ideas how to make things work. That's what I've done in the past on very little, being a minimalist. Now I work for Billionaires. It's what I do. I only had about 6 hours sleep last night, so I'm still worn out, but I do want to get this video out. So, women or ladies, how do you work for people who are difficult? If you're in a position as a mom, you're trying to work, you're trying to take care of yourself and take care of your kids, how many ever you have. And where I've shared I'm going through a divorce and the money's not there because my husband just wants a divorce just because he doesn't value the institution of marriage or respect it. I'm the one who has to take care of things. But luckily, God provided a job for me where I'm working for Billionaires. And that is something I'm very thankful for. Um, so I got about 6 hours of sleep last night. I just couldn't sleep, and then I'm in again this morning. And I usually do doubles. I usually do like 5 to 6 hours in the morning and 5 to 6 hours at night on my busy day. And then on a normal day, I just have about 6 hours. So today's a double. No, actually today's 6 hours. So I think I have time to get to the gym. But anyways, I have laundry to do and I have my own life to live too. So that work balance is important to me, but I work for a company that expects you to be available anytime they call, anytime they drop a coin, you're there. Basically, I told them I'm not available on Sundays. That's the day that I go to church and it's important to me, and that's the only day I ask for off. They asked for a religious accommodation. I gave them that, and they still will not completely honor that. So, I said it better be rare, it better not be much. Now, as we talk about work, I've worked at a ton of different jobs, tons. And when I went to church here, someone said to me, Melissa, I noticed something about you. I notice you're very principle based, and I am. So a lot of times when I've worked at different jobs, like one of my first jobs, I worked for Greeks. And if anyone, not to be discriminating, but if anyone has ever worked for Greeks, they have tempers. And so I had a big butcher knife thrown at me because I had cut I think it was carrot cake wrong. Um, and that missed me luckily, and it hit the dish area. I had walked by, and I think he was very angry and lashing out, but I don't think he tried to really hit me, but he could have, and it hit the wall of the dish area. So back then, being young and naive, I just took stuff. I don't know why, I just did. I was kind of taught just to obey and do what you're told to do in life. And I never really said anything about that to him. And I did tell his wife because she also worked there. And she was like, you know what, I am so, so sorry. And then he later on his own apologized to me. And she's like, he never apologizes to anybody, never. And he felt really bad. But anyways, what I want to talk about today is um, as a mother or as an older woman now, how do you stick with a job? How do you stay with it? So I've had a lot of trials already in this job. And, we are in a battle. And I had my sister in Christ texting me this morning with some great encouragement. We are in a battle. So the battle's not ours, it's God's. So your first line of defense is prayer. It's prayer. I've prayed for God to keep me at jobs. I had one job that I prayed God would keep me there. And he did fight for me, and he did work in that situation. But your first line of defense is prayer when things get tough. Pray that God will take care of you. He's got the victory. The second line of defense is communication. But even before you go there, I think the communication, if you have a difficult boss, as I do right now, is to go to HR. So I've never been I didn't even know who the principal was when I was in high school or well, I knew who the principal was in middle school, but I never went to the principal's office. I never even knew who the principal was in high school. My husband did. My husband was there all the time visiting the principal's office, but I didn't even know who he was. So I've never been somebody who's gotten in really big trouble in my life. So this time I'm taking advantage of HR and I'm in the office a lot, not because I'm in trouble, but because there are issues to deal with. There are things to talk about. So after last night's scene, basically I let HR know what's going on again, and then we are having another conversation this morning. So that is, you want to work through the correct lines of communication. And then your next line of defense, if you have to, is actually confronting that person. So I've had two situations in this job, and I have tons of experience in this area. I mean, I'm not being boastful saying that. I'm trying to be humble because you always have something to learn. Always. Every single day, you should be learning things. So I had a situation where the first time, I think it was like the second day I worked here, I had a mean girl experience. So I told this girl, if she continues to argue with me and wants to start something, I will finish it with her. And since then, I had gone to HR, we talked about it. Things have been civil. And, it's okay to stand up for yourself. And my boss actually said, we're not having the mean girl stuff here. So that was good. And then I had just some cattiness and, snobbery, and that happens. I remember being in hairdressing school and the girls were very catty, very catty. The type of woman I like to encourage my sisters, other women. I don't like to be in competition with other women. There is no competition, in my opinion. Each woman is an individual, so why would you compete with one another? Um, Let me see. So I had a situation last night that kind of blew up pretty big. Um, so I've waitressed for many, many years. You're talking over 20 years. So I know what I'm doing. I've taken a lot of rooms on my own. I worked at one joint where I had the whole entire room to myself. I couldn't even use the bathroom because I was so busy. But this is a place with a lot of service, especially at night. Like lunches are busy, people want to be in and out, but at night you have a huge amount of steps that need to be in place to take care of people correctly in this place. So I had a table last night that was not happy, and I had covered myself with some help and made sure I had plenty of help on one table. I had another table that wasn't happy, and the communication wasn't there. So we have these people, these bosses coming in, and they micromanage. They have no idea what your side of the story is, and they just come in, micromanage. Too many hands, too many, chefs, too many Indians, not enough chefs, something like that in the process. So I had a boss who actually was telling me that he is now taking me off from serving and will give me a different job. And he already talked to me about this before. I had gone to a table and told this woman I loved her hair. Her hair was beautiful, and we had a great conversation. Somehow we got into the conversation of hunting, and I talked about how I had a family who was from basically a hunting family. I grew up with this. I grew up with archery and shooting, etc. And she was so envious, and in a good way, and saying, geez, I wish I had that in my life. And we talked about how I plan on getting back to archery and all this stuff. So for that, that was a big no-no, that I spoke to another table that I wasn't supposed to. And last night after this happened, he tried to use that incident against me, which I didn't know. There was no policy on this, so I didn't know. So, so what I'm trying to say is another tool you have is confrontation. So I've had this one particular boss who has been on me since the day I started. I was hired by one boss and I was thrilled and I thanked him for this job. This was supposed to be a dream job for me, but he had transferred. So now he's not there. So this other boss is just on me, on me. I mean, actually watching for me to make mistakes. That's how bad it is. He's been breathing down my neck, watching me like a hawk to see if I make any mistakes. And so then he's been calling me in his office, making up this stuff about me. And so, I gave him some room and just agreed with him. Okay, yep, okay, kind of let it go over my head with some of the stuff. But he's been pretty rude, pretty much a jerk. HR told me there's no law against a boss being a jerk, but basically it's been a real battle all the way up since I've been there. And so last night I actually let him have it. I actually really had a heated conversation with him and said, you know what, you've been giving it to me since I've gotten here. You need to back off, cut it out. In respect for a boss, it's a two-way street. So it's not just them coming down on you and you having to take it all the time. It's, I'm an adult, I have a job, I need to protect my work reputation and my work situation. So he has been like, well, some people aren't made to be a server. And so last night he has said this to me a few times, and it's not his place. So I was just like, you know what? Maybe it's you. Maybe you're not the one who's manager material here. So, I mean, I laid into him and I said, how does it feel? How do you like it when people tell you that you're not good at your job? And on I went, and I just laid into him. And he's like, I don't, he's kind of trying to fire me. He's like, I'll give you this position instead. And I said, oh, no, you won't. You hired me as a server. You are going to keep me as a server, or you are firing me. And of course, I will get unemployment or whatever I need to make sure that I am getting money. But they don't really like to fire people, and it's probably for that reason. So this is a place you cannot make a mistake. Mistakes are not allowed. You don't get any praise for doing a good job for what you do. And basically the system basically is very old school and kind of backwards in my opinion. I think communication is a huge tool when you're working. And that's kind of what I'm dealing with. So I'm going back into the ring or the lion's den today. And this is something that I usually would not have done. I don't know. I probably would have said, thank you for the job, but, I'm looking for something better. But I have persevered, and I keep on trucking and keep on going in there and kind of taking the stuff. If I find that, I've only been there, 3.5 weeks, close to a month. But if I find that, there's a good reason for me to say, I'm no longer working here, I'm not afraid to do that. I'm not afraid to go down the road to McDonald's if that's going to help me pay my bills better. So it's not always the best job to work for billionaires. Um, Basically, a lot of them are billionaires because they're living off the backs of people they work for, and you don't always get that benefit. So I will have this place on my resume that's going to look really good. But as a single mom now, and ladies who have to work, just don't compromise the value of your work. Make sure you're standing strong. Make sure you are standing up for yourself at work. Don't feel like you just have to, put up with any old job. And it's not about money. It's about the principle. It's about, are you happy there? Are you able to work with people? If they're constantly coming up against you and you like the job, I'm thankful for my job. Be using all tools available. But that biggest tool is trusting God and knowing He's got your back. And if He continues to give you a job here, wonderful. And if He doesn't, fine. God will take care of you no matter what in your life.